It's another beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is Rubbin Minds. Welcome. My name is Ebuka Obi Uchendu. Thanks a lot for joining us. We're just about a month away from the official start of the campaigns for the 2023 general elections. But things are already starting to look very heated and interesting. Governor Wike of Rivers State, I beg your pardon, is still very much in the news. Everybody seems to still be courting his attention. We did see the PDP presidential candidate return to Adamawa State to a lot of fanfare and excitement. All of the presidential candidates seem to be, sort of watering the flowers for now. While getting ready for the 28th of September when things will really heat up. A lot of talk has started going into the fact that promises have been made already by the candidates, whether it's by the presidential or governorship candidates or whatever level of government. People are used to election promises, but the one thing that people are not used to is how to hold government accountable to those promises that they make. And that's what we're going to be talking about today on the show. It's the one thing, or I think the missing link with the Nigerian electorate. How do we hold our leaders accountable to, their duties, their promises, their mandates to the Nigerian? And I'm joined here now by Babajide Balogun. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you very much, Ebuka.
So it's a very simple question I want to start with. I know you're well-traveled, you've been around the world, you know how democracy works, or leadership, for want of a better word. How, in your experience, how do you see people around the world able to hold government accountable to, their promises or even just their duty to people? And why do you think it doesn't reflect here in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. So outside Nigeria, we see people, for example, consumers, you go to a store, you try to buy stuff, and then after buying it, if it didn't work for you, you go back and say you want to do this thing, and you get a refund or return.
Yeah.
But here in Nigeria, our government, we pay taxes, and after paying these taxes are meant to be, the money are meant to be used for things, but it's not being used for that. And there's no government agency that you can report things to. Even if you do report it to, they are not forthcoming. Giving you back reports on things like that. So it's not really working here in Nigeria.
Yeah. Joyce, we're joined by Joyce Daniels, who's a social engineering practitioner. Thanks for joining us, Joyce. I want to ask you, is this a problem with the Nigerian citizens who don't know how to hold government accountable? Or is this a structural issue where, like he said, even if you try to hold government accountable, the institutions don't work?
Thank you, Ebuka. Thank you for having me. I think it's a bit of both, and we can even link it back to our culture of what we call power distance. That's the ability to speak to people who are, as it were, older or ahead. So in our culture, as is not only bound to us, it's across the world, we typically don't have children who can question parents about parents' decisions. If you ask your parents certain questions, you get some lashing, right? It's difficult to question your teachers about solutions that they prefer in classrooms. So it continues into the larger society. Even in the religious organizations, it's difficult to question your religious leaders. It's cultural first, and then it goes into the larger society. That's why even when we set up structures, the mentality that we live with daily affects how we interact with the structure. So someone who will not respond to their teenage child at home is wondering why Nigerians are asking him or her questions, as in, what's wrong? What's wrong with these people? So it's one affecting the other. Can it be fixed? Yes. But that's the answer to your question to start with.
So I hear you on the cultural side, and of course there's also religion. There's a lot of, which is why you go to events and there's always my Lord spiritual and temporal. We seem to hold certain these figures on such a level that it's almost like they can't be questioned. But I hear you on how culture seems to be affecting that. But we also seem to be at a time where we talk about Gen Zs, and the young people are a little more vocal now. We've had the Freedom of Information Bill, which has become an act and law now for a couple of years. Is it accessible? Is it something, do you see the culture in any way changing? I mean, the End SARS protest continues to come to mind, but was that a one-off move, or do you think Nigerians are now at a point where, you know, we just don't want to hear promises anymore, and, you know, that culture might start changing?
I see that it is gradually changing. As with anything, it will take some time with the right amount of effort, which I see is being put in. We have organizations like Budget, like Serap, who are structurally helping the accountability process. And then with the advent and democratization of social media, it is getting easier. So we see a document come out where certain amounts of monies were appropriated for bush clearing. And in a matter of 20 hours, it's all over the internet. Every WhatsApp group has it, and people are now asking questions. It might take some time to be more systematic, but it is happening. It is going on.
Okay, I'll come back to you, Joyce. She brought up social media there, which was what I wanted to touch on next. You know, and there's an argument about how much power social media even has. You know, we heard the example she made. We heard about the bush cutting for 2.5 billion. We heard the story about termites eating documents. We've heard about snakes swallowing money. There was even recently a tweet, I think, from the Kaduna state governor, you know, along the lines of sort of what we call on social media trolling the campaign of Peter Obi of the Labour Party, and people sort of, you know, try to hold him to account for that. But there's also a lot of talk about it's always just air. So we make a lot of noise on social media. After 2 days, there's a news topic and everybody moves on. Is the noise enough to hold people accountable, or is it actually making a change in any way?
Well, I mean, social media has really done a lot, most especially in Nigeria. You know, it's the voice of the voiceless. You know, the people who can't really walk to their government and tell them this is it. I mean, but they're behind somewhere saying this. And if you look at things going on, it's working, but we need more of those noises. And because you can't hide anymore. If they say Ebuka did something yesterday, in few minutes, if somebody can tweet or post it on any of these social media platforms, you see it everywhere. People in America, people in London, people anywhere in the world would see that thing. So I mean, the noise is really working, and it's something they should do more.
But if you get bashed on social media, and I use that word very loosely, you know, for something you did, and then nothing comes of it, and then it happens again and nothing comes of it, do you really now just think, oh, this place, nothing can really come out of it? Don't you think that leaders are at a point now where they just actually believe that social media really doesn't have any power?
I don't think so, because the leaders are on the social media. Even if they are not personally on there, they have people, SAs and PAs who are on the social media, who takes back word to them. In as much that most of them, they don't really act fast on it, but in times they get to see these things and they work on it. So social media really helps in combating any of these things. I think it works.
Joyce, I want to talk institutions now, and just government as a whole. And one thing that recently comes to mind, of course, is the release or the amnesty granted to former governors who were in jail for corrupt charges. I think the governor of Taraba State, and you know, so it's a lot of Nigerians wonder, you know, okay, this is the one occasion where we actually went the whole hog, went to trial, got someone convicted for actual corruption. We don't see that very often. And then a few years down the line, they're giving full amnesty, and there's even talks about one of them probably even running for Senate in the next elections. You know, and is that talk about accountability? I mean, you see stories like that and you wonder what's the point anyway, don't you?
It's saddening. It's saddening, and we can convert the sadness to some form of energy to propel us to continue in the direction that we are, which is asking for more accountability. The thing is, don't let sadness convert us to hopelessness. Let it give us more energy to continue to ask and to want to be in the space. It's difficult to cook in a kitchen that you are not present. It's difficult to change a system that you are not a part of. Let our sadness and anger cause us to become part of the system and try to fix the challenges that we see. It could be disheartening, but at the same time, let us convert that anger, that energy to action to continue in the right direction. Well, the fact that they were convicted in the first place, we can hold on to that and say, okay, that helps. We have a few other members of the National Assembly who had some challenges and are incarcerated right now. We can hold on to these few pieces and say, okay, well, gradually it's happening, and then we keep going. It's difficult to write sentences when you can't even mention letters. So we're on the way there.
So Joyce, now I want to ask about elections, and I'll still come to you, Rajidi, so you think about that as well. We're in election season now. 2015 was quite the year of promises by candidates. There was promises of security on the economy, and Nigerians kept saying, "Oh, don't worry, if they don't perform in 4 years, we'll vote them out." We know the state of security now. We know what the economy looks like right now. We're back there again. We have candidates already starting to insinuate a lot of things that they're going to do. What should Nigerians be thinking about at a time like this before we start thinking about holding them accountable whenever they get into office? But at this point, where we start hearing promises, what should we have in our minds?
Buka, what should we have in our minds? Wow. First of all, let's try. And I say that with every sense of responsibility, appeal, try to be objective, much more than being emotional. Yes, we are emotional beings, and almost every decision is made on an emotional level. We need to make the effort to come back to who is saying what, why are they, what's track record. So let's try to be objective, ask questions. Let's also try to be involved in spaces where we can interact with these candidates to ask our own questions and keep the proof and the evidence of responses given, because these are the things we will use in accountability later, or for accountability. One thing is, if you don't have a material to hold on to personally, you might just not have the energy to go with. They say, yes, they've come again, but are you more involved in the process as well? And I say this because if you're trying to get a job, you put every effort in to get that job. You get your CV if you think you can be part of the solution. So some of us, you and I, we think we can be part of the solution. Then try and get into those campaign organizations, those places where the conversations are being had. Try. Make sure your voice is heard, in that you would say, I can do this. This is how I will be part of the solution that you are saying you will prefer. So that by the time we get into office, I can also be part of those who are making it happen. It seems like a tall order, but guess what? People are doing it and it's working. So let's all just try.
Robert, same thing, because we are going to hear those promises. We're already hearing those promises. Like she said, how do you separate what you want to hear to what actually is possible? Because if I hear, oh, I'm going to make $1 one naira today, it's going to get me excited, but is that realistic? How do you decide what's realistic and what, should be actually possible?
I see before now, I think the current election thing has really, really changed. A lot of people don't even want to listen to, I will. It's not about I will. What have you done when you were there? Because most of the people who run it at this current for the presidential election have held one offices or the other. Yeah. So it's not about what I will do. It's about when you were there, what policies did you get done? What have you done? And the thing is this: a lot of them are, Nigerian youth now, as it is. If you look at the percentage of the people who are going to be the larger percentage is the Nigerian youth. So we don't want to listen to what we would do. We need to, like she said, we have to be in spaces whereby these people, the campaign period, we just have to be there and listen to them and confront them and say, when you were there, what did you do? What is it that, why didn't you do this while you were there? Why are you trying to say you will do it now? And because enough of promises. We need action. Coming 2023 election, all we need now from these people trying to contest for presidency, we need actions. And the Nigerian youth have to take them responsible for everything they say.
Okay, I hear you there, and I just want to know, the elections are fast approaching. We've heard a lot of candidates say things. I know we focus a lot on the presidential level. There's also other levels that people need to look out for. But are you hopeful with what you're seeing so far, not just at the presidential level, with the sorts of conversations you're hearing? I hear a lot of talk about religion and tribe and zones as against the actual, actions that these people are going to be offering, even though campaigns are not officially started. But from where we are right now, how are you feeling about, the prospects of next year?
Well, the campaign starts maybe officially from next month. But, it's just that we, the people of this country, we tend to look at the highest office, which is the presidency. There are still state of House of Assemblies, there are special Federal House of Reps, there are Senates, where we have to look, because these are the people who are the policymakers, they are the legislators. They are the ones who will say, they are the one who knows exactly what is wrong with their people. The presidency is just an executive place. These people we need to know the people we are putting in place to represent us in our local constituencies and state assemblies. We need to know these things. So we should focus on the presidential election, but we still have to focus more on the lower ones, which is the State House of Assembly, the Federal House of Reps, and the Senate. These are the people we need to hold accountable. The presidency is very important, but these ones we need to, because a lot of people, if you ask them who is representing you in the State House of Assembly, a lot of people don't know. And these are the people who complain and say the president is not doing this, the president is not doing that. We need to hold these ones accountable first. The ones we can see, the ones we can go to their houses and knock, even though they will have security. But people that the tendency you will see. Imagine me living in Lagos. When would I know I will see the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? He lives in Abuja. How would I get there? But I can see the State House of Assembly member who probably is representing my constituency. Even if I don't get to see him one-on-one, I can go to his office. By the time you keep going, I'm not saying go there because you might be arrested the way Nigeria is, but by the time you keep putting your voice, they know that there are things they're not doing. Like the guy who represents my state assembly, I've seen him a couple of times, and I went to meet him and I spoke to him. And the thing is, it's so surprising that when I spoke to him, he had to listen. Though some of them don't listen, but I had to let him know that, bro, I can be in these same shoes, and I will be in these same shoes that you are. We should be able, you're a youth. If they can't talk to you, then what is it that you're representing the youth there?
Exactly. All right. Joy, same question to you. Like I said, the campaign seems to be overshadowed by a lot of tribe and religious talk. But like I said, campaigns are not fully started. But I've already started hearing phrases like, I can fix Nigeria, or I can fix the economy, or I will unify the country, Pretty broad statements, but pointing to a direction of promises already. Maybe not as elaborate as we heard in the past, but are you sort of encouraged by the messaging so far?
On some days, yes. On some days, I ask more questions. Because personally, I just know how to try to keep hope alive, because I believe that I'm also going to be part of the change and transformation that I seek. So yes, there is some hope. To add to what the previous speaker said, one way we can help the process is, don't do things alone, please. Find others who are feeling what you feel and speak as a wolf pack. It gives us more energy, many times better direction. But when we ask individually on our WhatsApp groups, we're not asking, we're losing energy, we're losing steam. So if you have an association of, say, fashion designers that you belong to, or architects or lawyers or bakers, together as a group, be a part of the process so that you can ask the question as a group as to what concerns you. If different groups like that begin to ask more questions and show up, I think it gives more strength, it gives more hope.
We'll take a break now and we'll be right back. Please stay with us. Now it's time to show well, I think we're all looking forward to the campaign season, especially to start. And then we'll probably start understanding what's happening. I mean, right now it looks like there's a lot of noise, but not from the candidates yet. And we're hoping. Anybody wondering if debates are effective? Do you think debates work in Nigeria? Because that's some way of keeping people accountable.
Well, in a normal country, debates are the ways to make people, the people get involved in their campaign.
And at least see
at least see the
and hear from them.
Hear from the person you want to.
But it's never really been effective.
Yeah, because most of the top candidates don't even
acknowledge it.
They don't acknowledge it. It's either they'll tell you they are busy, they won't, because they are shying away from questions.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to show their flop on live broadcast on national TV. So they try to shy away from it. But I think it's very, very effective, and we should call for it.
Joyce, do you agree? Joyce, do you agree? Do you think we're working?
Help. If not anything else, they help us. They would help us decide. Those who did not show up for debates in the past are those who did not deliver on their promises. So that should be a guide to us now. Those who will not show up, we already know those should not be the people to take our votes. Then we know what we're up against. So that's one thing to hold on to. Debates will also help the candidates clarify their thoughts, because some of them who thought they could fix the economy like this or fix security, when questions are being asked, might take another step back to think, which is good for us. Because if they're able to refine their thoughts and get better processes in, better strategies in place, then we all will win together. So debates do help. I look forward to debates. And one way we can help is sponsor these debates. They're expensive. So individuals, groups, collectively can be a part of it by sponsoring debates on different levels, national, state, and local.
Well, thank you very much, Joyce. Thank you very much, Rajidi. We're all keeping our fingers crossed. We're just about a month away, and hopefully the campaigns are most importantly peaceful. I think that's what everybody wants. We'll take a break now, and we'll be right back. Please stay with us.